In life and creativity, there's freedom in losing yourself and finding yourself both. I feel like that's exactly what I've done. Over the years, I have worked really hard in kind of losing myself and getting out of the mold. I made a commitment to myself not too long ago that if I had an opportunity come my way, I would say yes. Whereas in the past, it felt like fear was determining my decisions. And fear no longer lives here. It no longer lives in my heart. It no longer lives here. I'm doing things and finding myself playing. I'm finding myself in roller skates. I'm finding myself on an adventure of what's next. It's what makes me get out of bed every day. It's exciting to put my feet on the ground, start going, and just see what today's gonna bring. I am Dionne Woods, and I am the owner and artist of the Turquoise Iris and the Turquoise Iris Journal magazine. I coach and empower other women. I teach, and I spend a lot of my days trying to create something that someone's really going to fall in love with. And I use furniture as art form, canvas, dresses, hats, you name it. It's all a canvas. I remember growing up, and perfection was a strong word that I had in my vocabulary. I thought it was a requirement. I thought it was a necessity. And I may have actually thought it was tangible, to be honest. I have almost pushed the opposite direction of never striving for perfection. We go to school and, there's a norm, there's the rules, there's the structure, which is so helpful and necessary. But in creativity, it seems to get lost. We start to get these labels put on us. And even at an early age, we get the labels of, well, he's the smart one, or she's the fast one, or all these labels are identified. And when you're young, you don't know how to separate. So you never really hear, I'm all of these things. I was one of those kids growing up, all of the other moms said, if Dionne's going, then you can go, because they knew they were going to have a mom with them. I never felt like I really had a lot of fun, or maybe I wasn't the one that was fun. And I think I carried around a little shame of that, a little embarrassment. They say you don't want to get in a box or box yourself in. And that's exactly what I felt like I was always doing, is being boxed in. Not by anybody in particular, but by myself, because it was safe there. It carried over when I had my second son. He was the type that wanted to be into everything, and I couldn't do it. I boxed up all my supplies because I was worried too that he was going to make a mess. When my boys started sitting around the table and I would let them color, and I would find myself coloring with them and thinking, this is something that I had forgotten about. So I went and splurged and bought canvases. I was so embarrassed to walk through the store with canvases because I thought someone would look at me and go, oh, she thinks she's an artist. It was embarrassing to walk to the register with canvases because I felt the imposter syndrome big time. Matt is my husband, and we started our family when I was 24. That would make Elijah 21, and Holden is 17. When the boys got older and they said, hey, Mom, we're going to try out for this travel baseball team. And I looked at Matt with tears in my eyes and the most stress and said, how are we going to do this? I would pick up furniture off the side of the road on Big Trash Day. And I would bring it home and I would scrub it. I don't really think that Matt knew what I was doing or really understood what my hope was or what my goal was. But I knew that if I could make $200, I could buy the cleats. And I could buy the new wooden bat. And we might be able to make the travel ball fees. And that taught me I'm pretty good at this. I'm pretty good at painting a piece of furniture, styling it. Through my journey of creativity, I'm giving myself permission to come out of the corner and do the dance. To really live, not just be alive and breathing, but to really live my life. And I'm having fun. I'm in love with furniture. I'm in love with restoration. I am in love with creating a new look or a new design for a piece of furniture. You have to work through the naysayers and find a vision. And how do you find that? It's kind of funny. You let it sit there, and I do believe that the furniture will tell me what color it wants to be. I really quickly became the person that was blending 6 colors, 8 colors, 10 colors on a piece of furniture. And I could use water, and I could treat the piece of furniture as if it were its own art form. And it got really fun really quickly. I got on camera and I showed people how to take a piece of furniture, discard it on the curb, and give it 20 more years of life in someone's home. One window can be everything to me. I'm drawn towards light, so I often find myself outside under the trees working on a canvas. And I love listening to the birds and the wind chimes. The airplanes go, and I get a whole new perspective by stepping outside underneath the trees. We always have an active studio space in all of my different little creative areas. I saw an idea where someone had painted their hat. So I thought, well, I'm gonna do that in my own way. I bought a bunch of hats, I painted them. I started cutting up my drop cloths, because that was free and it was fabric that was laying on the floor right beside me. And then I started sticking little things in the bands, and people loved them. That branched into journals and realizing I could really just paint on anything. There's freedom in painting and seeing everything as a canvas. I cannot imagine life without color. And I mean that in the beige. In home interior and design for so many years, it's all beige and it's all white and it's all gray. And there's a place for that. And I appreciate it. It doesn't speak to me. So an opportunity came my way, and a paint company wanted me to select their next colors. And can you imagine? That felt so special. I named one of the pinks Passionate. I named the purple Flourished. The yellow, which is this deep chartreuse color, it's very intense. I named it Spirited. Adored Chaos, which I just think that's so fun. We eventually came out with a new product. It just seemed like the next page of my story, Bohemian Brights. And again, my mind started wandering. I've got an imagination, now use it. What are we gonna do to market it, to stand out from the rest of the other paint companies? And I said, I'm gonna paint a dress. I'm gonna paint a wedding dress. My friend found like 6 dresses at a thrift store, and she brought them all to me. And I really had no plan, but I just kept feeling this nudge to paint the dress. I kept hearing it, paint the dress, paint the dress. And so I did. And I watched the paint go on the dress, and tears came out of my eyes. And I'm thinking, is this really happening? I'm painting a wedding dress, and I love it. Having my dresses on people and watching the colors move with the light and just seeing joy on someone's face, it's everything to see your dream unfold. the story be told. These dresses are an opportunity for someone to really lean in and to be themselves and to be individual and to be that same fresh, new kindergartner, blurring the lines and not fitting into the mold of what's expected, but being unique to themselves. I don't know who the dresses are for. I don't have a story other than to say, I felt the nudge and I paid attention to it. And there's really something to be said to paying attention to that nudge. You don't have to know where the story's going. You just have to take the next page and read the next chapter or write it yourself. I dance without music. I sing without a song on, and I try to encourage other people to do that. I know it's uncomfortable at first, but there's so much growth that comes when we can look back and go, I did that and I didn't die while I was doing it. I find that with a lot of creative people, there's a resistance. And it doesn't have to be there. It's usually fear-based that causes that resistance. Because what's it going to look like? And will I be good enough? And I always wanted to be. But if I go in and I begin, maybe I won't be as good as I'd hoped, or it won't look like what I have imagined. When there's a messy middle, it tends to come from resistance and knowing what you want to do. And there's pain here. And that's why I call it the messy middle. There's pain and there's anxiety. And I really try to encourage people to follow their calling when they get that nudge. Otherwise, the messy stays. And the anxiety and that pull stays. But once they start to mesh and they become one, the resistance fades away, and that creativity is given life. And I think that looks a lot differently than the word perfection. We really don't have room for perfection in art. My name is Dionne Woods, and this is what inspires me to create. What will you create?